So now you know how to write a Playwright test. But now let's do something a little bit more interesting. In this lesson, we're going to do a search function. We're going to test the search functionality. What we're going to do is see if we can enter a word, say pliers, into the search field. If we then press enter, we'll get some results. We want to make sure that we get results. That's all I want to check at this stage. We'll do more sophisticated checks later on. But for now, let's build on our existing test, add a new test that's going to check that when we search for a keyword, we do get some results. So if we want to see what those results are, we're going to first need to be able to interact with these elements and figure out what these elements actually look like. So let's write our basic test, and then we'll flip back to this page and we'll see how we interact with those elements. So I'll whip this page over to one side, and we are going to go back to our test. We're going to create another test called void should search by keyword. Very simple at this stage. I'm going to duplicate this logic. So basically Playwright create, and then launch the browser, and then we'll create a new page. So that's all good. So far, so good. And now I'm going to navigate to that home page again. And this time I'm going to interact with the page to be able to do that search. So let's go back to our page and look at what we actually need to look for. So this guy, there are a few ways we can locate this element, but we can see here that search text is a placeholder. So a placeholder is often a very convenient way to locate elements. So without even going into the page, what I can do is search by placeholder. So once I've navigated to this page, I'm going to say page locator, and I'm going to find a placeholder equals search. And when I found that placeholder, I can enter some values. I can enter values using the fill method. Pliers. Now I want to click on the search button. So I've entered pliers here. I want to click on this button here. So one way I can know what to click on is to inspect the element and see what it is. So here I can see it's a button element. It's a button that contains the text pliers. And that's how we can locate the element on the page and interact with it. So in Playwright, what I can do is say page locator, and then I want to find a button, colon, has text of search. Then I want to click on that button. So that will use a CSS selector that will look for an element that contains a particular piece of text. And once we've searched for an item, we want to see that each element appears. So I'm going to inspect these elements and see what we can look for. So what appears often is this notion of a card. So we have this idea of a card, an element with a class card. And let's see if this one is as well. Inspect element again. It has a class, an image with a class card. So we have several elements with class card. So if we can look for elements with a class card and count them, that will tell us how many search results we have on the page. So let's go ahead and do that. So the way I can do that is find a count of matching search results. And I can do something like this. Page locator, use the CSS expression dot card. So find all the card elements and then count. That will count the number of elements. Then I can do an assertion. Assertions. Assert that the number of search results is greater than 0. Finally, we're going to need to close down the browser. So let's close that browser and close down Playwright, and our test is finished. Now I want to run this test and see if it works. So very fast, isn't it? So we now have our test that is functional, our fully operational second Playwright test. So I would encourage you to have a go at writing these yourself and seeing if you can get them to work on your own machine. In the next lesson, we're going to show you how to simplify this code and remove a lot of the boilerplate, make your Playwright tests a lot slicker and a lot leaner and a lot easier to